Today I will be presenting my presentation on the Civil Rights Act of 1964, one of the most influential social policies in United States history. I chose this policy because it directly connects to the core values of social work, especially social justice and advocacy and protecting vulnerable populations. This law didn't just challenge populations. This law it made discrimination illegal. It impacts is still visible today in education, employment, and civil rights protection. Before 1964, segregation and discrimination were legally enforced in many southern states through Jim Crow laws. African Americans were denied equal access to public schools, housing, employment, and even public accommodations like restaurants and transportation. The civil rights movement brought national attention to these injustices. Through peaceful protests, marches, and protests, activists demanded change. These collective efforts created significant national pressure for federal reform. Because of this activism and growing public awareness, the federal government took action of the Civil Rights Act and was signed into law in 1964. Here's a picture of Lyndon B. Johnson signing the bill. In 1964, he worked closely with Martin Luther King Jr. and others. Um, Also, the purpose of the Civil Rights Bill was important because it still influences us today. It helped end segregation in public places. The primary purpose of the Civil Rights Act was to eliminate discrimination in key areas of American life. It ended segregation in public accommodations such as hotels, restaurants, and theaters. One of the most significant sections were Title VII, which prohibited employment discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. This meant that employers could no longer legally refuse to hire or promote someone based on their identity. The Act also strengthened enforcement of school desegregation. Overall, the rules shifted equality from being a moral argument to becoming enforceable federal policy. Wrong button, I'm sorry. These are pictures of the Civil Rights Act. On the left is the Freedom Riders. There were smoke, but the picture's hardly showing it. And on the right are some activists or some protesters rather, that are promoting the Confederate flag. The impact of the policy. The impact of the Civil Rights Act had both immediate and long-term impacts. Public facilities began to desegregate, and the federal government gained stronger authority to enforce civil rights protection. Over time, the act opened doors for minorities and women in employment and education. It also became the legal foundation for future protections, including disability rights and expanded gender equality laws. This policy fundamentally reshaped access to opportunities in American society. Where is this policy today? Today, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is still active federal law. Courts continue to apply it in modern discrimination cases, especially in employment and education settings. Title VII continues to protect individuals from workplace discrimination. Over time, courts have interpreted the law more broadly to address issues like sexual harassment and pregnancy discrimination. Even today, this policy provides the individuals with legal tools to challenge discrimination and injustice. It remains a central foundation for civil rights enforcement in the United States. How is this relevant to social work? For social workers, this policy is especially significant. The NASW Code of Ethics emphasizes social justice, dignity, and the importance of challenging discrimination. Social workers often advocate for for clients facing discrimination in housing, employment, healthcare, and education. The Civil Rights Act provided a legal foundation that strengthens this advocacy. It also helps address systematic oppression by ensuring that discrimination is not only socially discouraged but legally prohibited. My personal reflection and conclusion hits me at home the most because if it wasn't for this policy, I wouldn't be able to get a social work degree. I wouldn't have been able to get an associate's degree at Wallace, even online, nevertheless. So I'm very thankful for the people that